I thought I'd talk about my CBR250RR and compare it to a few of the learner bikes that are available at the moment. So this isn't my first bike. I'm still on my LAMS, but this isn't my first bike. My first bike was a 250 Ninja 2010. And I had that for about 6 months, and it was a good little bike. I didn't have any problems with it. It was really reliable. It was really easy to ride, fairly upright. You know, a good mix between upright and the sports position. And once I heard about these bikes, these 250RRs, I was very interested in them. They're super sport. I think one of the only actual full super sport positions that you can get on your LAMS, as far as I know. And they're a 4-cylinder. They're not a 2-cylinder. Pretty much, except for the triple, every other LAMS bike is a 2-cylinder. So yeah, here I am. I got the 250RR. I've still got the Ninja. I'm trying to sell it. And I guess, yeah, comparing this 4-cylinder super sport to the Ninja and a few of the other LAMS bikes that I've ridden, I'd say this one is the most fun. For sure, the most fun. It's not the easiest to ride long distance, you know, super sport position. What do you expect? You know, everyone knows that. But when you want to go like a little bit quicker, when you want to show a few friends, it's pretty damn good. It's, you know, your super sport position is always in that attack position. It sounds awesome. This bike sounds amazing. This has just got like a cheap little Yoshimura imitation high flow pipe on it off eBay, as far as I know. Pretty cheap exhaust, but even with this on, it sounds amazing. I love it. The sound is amazing, and it revs up to, you know, 19,000 virtually. So those are some very good points. It's got 2 front discs, so 2 brake discs on the front. It's got a very strong chassis. I'll get off at some point and show you the chassis. The swing arm on the back is just so solid, and it like curves around like a banana. The seat is comfortable compared to the 300 Ninja. Much more comfortable than that. I found the 300 Ninja seat very cheap. You know, they spent more money on the fuel injection and they sort of skimped on a few other things, but that's another story. It's got a really big tail section, like for your boot. Yeah, I can fit like shopping in there. Like, I can't do a big shop obviously, but you know, like if you just need to get a few things, it's perfect for that. You know, you can cram so much in there. Just for going to work and stuff, it's perfect. I used to have a tank bag for my Ninja, and I pretty much don't need to have a tank bag on this bike. So I love that. That's fantastic. It's very versatile. I like the power delivery on it too. It's not the torquiest of bikes, as you'd imagine, and you really have to get up in the power to really sort of feel the power. Really high in the revs, I mean. But it sort of pulls like all the time. Like, you just have to turn the throttle and you're going somewhere. So, you know, it takes a bit to get up, but you know, it's responsive. So those are the things I suppose I like about the bike. Bad things, you know, it's old now. I haven't had any problems with the reliability. You know, it's like many old bikes, you know, there might be an oil leak here or there. You might have to worry about the starter motor or the battery or what's the thing that, the regulator, that's right. It's different to a car, which is an alternator. But yeah, I mean, those are probably the things that I was more concerned about getting, you know, like a bike like this. It's, you know, a little bit older. Oh, a bit of thunder. Great. Don't want to get caught into that. So I'll compare this bike to you know, your Ninja 250, the Ninja 300. I've ridden a Ninja 650 as well, the LAMS one. I've ridden a Triumph 660. I got that as a loan car from my local bike dealer when I had this thing in for a little bit of a service. That was pretty fun. So, what else have I ridden? I rode a Honda, it was like a naked Honda 2007 V-twin carby. That was a pretty cool bike, but fairly docile, very easy to ride, very chilled, you can say. And out of all those bikes I've ridden, they've all got their good sort of points, but I still prefer this thing, you know, like I really want to make this a really good bike, you know, make the suspension right and, you know, get it running perfectly. I think, you know, taking this up the mountain or, you know, to the racetrack even, you know, this thing is definitely made for the racetrack. Taking this to the racetrack, I think it'd be fantastic. It's so little and light, and the power is just so like gradual and linear. You know, coming out of corners, you'll just be able to like fully get as much throttle on in the corner as possible. So, what bike should you get for your first bike? Honestly, if you haven't ridden a bike before in your life, getting this bike might be a little bit hard. Getting this bike might put you in some situations where you're a bit tired, like your shoulders get tired, your wrists get tired, and that might make things a little harder for you to enjoy, and especially get accustomed to riding a motorbike, you know, the gears and the how it steers and the handling of it, everything. That might, yeah, that point might make it a little bit harder. So, with that in mind, I would recommend the Ninja 300 out of all those ones. All the ones that I've ridden, they're all fantastic bikes, you know, they all do what they wanted, like they're meant to do fantastically, especially for the new ones, all the new LAMS bikes, they're all very good bikes. But I think the one that can do the most things best, I would say the Ninja 300. It's got fantastic torque, it's got fantastic power, it's got a really good riding position, slightly more lent over than the Ninja 250, but that also gives you more performance. You know, you're a little bit more aggressive, not as aggressive as this, but a little bit more aggressive. And that just gives you that, I guess, availability in performing, you know, up the mountains or even just, you know, on the way home from work. Second to that, I would say this thing. I would say get the 300 or even a 250. Get a cheap bike that's easy to ride, and then go look at one of these. If you love motorcycling, if you love hearing that exhaust, if you love being in that super ready to go position, I would wholeheartedly recommend the Ninja 250 Double R. As long as you keep in mind, it's a fairly extreme bike. I guess other bikes you could ride, you could look at, you know, the Triple 660. Quite an impressive bike, I will say, for a LAMS bike. I was very surprised at the amount of performance that thing had. 3 cylinders, 660cc, insane amount of torque. Like, oh god, just pulling away on that thing. Crazy. Traffic here. Ninja 650. Mate of mine's got one of them. That's a very good bike as well. You know, when you're riding, you just feel like a boss. You got so much power, so much torque for a LAMS bike. You know, you can just putt it around 4th gear. Oh, I'm doing 100. Easy. No fucking worries. You've got the Ninja 250, my old bike. Great little bike. Not as exciting as all the fuel injected ones, or the bigger CC ones obviously, but just for going around town, really efficient, low fuel costs. It's great. You know, they're cheaper now. They look pretty good. The 08 models from onwards from 08, they look great. You can get a bunch of colours in them if you want. And I'll be a little bit sad to see it go, to be honest. You know? So, your first bike. Your first bike. As my salesman at the bike dealership said, 250s, they're all pretty much the same. Just depends which sort of feel that you like. You know, do you want an upright position? Do you just want to chill? Just want to, you know, just be able to get around town like pretty much like a car. You know, you're sitting like a car position, basically. Do you want a sportier bike that might test you a little bit more than RR 300, 250? Do you want a cruiser? You can get cruisers on the LAMS. I haven't ridden one, but I'm sure it'd be bloody comfortable on the highway. When you don't want to think, when you're not in that doing position, you just want to sit back and be like, I'm going somewhere. There's heaps of options. Price, that's another thing. Price, these bikes are bloody cheap. They're old, obviously, and you might have to spend a little bit of money tidying them up, getting the shockies done, getting the carbies retuned and whatnot. But they're bloody fun. And they're cheap. And they seem to hold their value pretty well. So, and they look good. They look much better than, you know, all your generic sort of bikes. Well, I think so anyway. I really like the styling. Very race-like. But yeah, you know, your Ninja 250s, you know, you can get them really cheap. I'm looking at selling my one really cheap. Ninja 300s, you know, you can find them really cheap. There's a whole bunch of them because everyone rides them for a year. Well, most guys ride them for a year and then go, oh yep, time to get a new bike. I'm gonna get me a 4-cylinder super sport, that's what they say, usually. You know, Triumph 660s, the street triples, the LAMS ones. Brand new, they're like 12 grand, so, you know, it's like a full price bloody bike. But, you know, obviously super good quality, super fast. Awesome bike, absolutely awesome bike. So, what do you do? What do you do? You learn as much as you can. And you talk to as many people as you can. And you ride as many bikes as you can. It's pretty much how it goes. But anyway, if you're getting into motorcycling and you're not too sure what sort of bike you want, these are some good tips, I suppose, but I'd say they're more for a person that has a little bit more of experience. Hard to say though, you know, it is hard to say. But my advice to a rookie, just go ride a whole bunch of bikes. See what speaks to you. So anyway, they're my tips. It's my advice. First bikes, LAMS bikes, CBRs, 4-cylinder, 2-cylinder. Go forth and enjoy the world of motorcycling.